Are you ready?
Agility from the champion.
Oh, deep six! That could be it. Delivers this deep six.
This is episode 166. This is our AEW Dynamite post show. We'll also be talking about the redemption that took place this past Sunday. But tonight, I am joined by Shiv, the Curry Thunder.
That's right.
Okay, cool. I got that right because right now you're in a little box that's like this big right now. I gotta expand my screen here. How you doing, man?
Well, you know, I do my best work when I'm in a little box, but outside of that, I'm doing great, man. Excited right now to be able to chat with you about what's been going on in wrestling, specifically AEW. How are you, man?
I am doing good. This week has flown by so fast.
For sure.
This whole year's flown by so fast. We are more than halfway through the year, which is absolutely insane to me. We have SummerSlam coming up this weekend. We got Raw. We just came off the heels of AEW Redemption and Dynamite, and we are in a little bit of a busy wrestling season right now, and which we will touch on very shortly. We are on the road to AEW All In, and I gotta be honest with you. I did not think that I would say this anytime soon. I am looking more forward to AEW All In than WWE SummerSlam.
I mean,
and here's my reasoning behind that. And don't get me wrong, I'm looking forward to SummerSlam. I'm expecting big stuff to happen. It's just that the builds of how we're getting to All In as opposed to the build as to how we're getting to SummerSlam, it's a little bit of night and day. And I feel like the build for our main matches of All In, specifically the matches we'll talk about in a short while with Kenny Omega and Will Osprey, and then for the women's you got Willow Nightingale and Mercedes Moné. I'm very excited about those matches. As opposed to the other brands, you know, is the storytelling just not really clicking for me right now. I got to be really honest with you.
Well, I mean, give them time. I mean, this is
there's not much time. There is not much time. They only have a SmackDown. That's it. Yeah, the Raw brand's done. They did whatever they could do, and it was just insane best on Monday. But
maybe they are cursed. Who knows?
I'm really impressed with how Dynamite has been booking their shows lately. However, Tony Khan does not know how to stay within the 2-hour show, and he can't help himself but to book a 5-hour pay-per-view that goes on till nearly 12 o'clock midnight, and we'll talk more about that. But anyway, Shiv, I wanted to start off today. Before we touch on Dynamite, I want to get your thoughts on AEW Redemption, which just took place this past Sunday at Montreal. What are your thoughts on the pay-per-view?
Man, awesome. You know, for AEW, like you said, you know, their area of opportunity, if I'm putting it nicely, is time management, right? I think that would probably be their area of opportunity. Outside of that, they're self-aware. They moved it up an hour early. You know, me being out on the West Coast, brother, I got to say, I'm loving the time difference for me because by the time it's over, I can still, you know, catch a couple shows and go to sleep. So Redemption, though, as a pay-per-view, Montreal was a great crowd. I think from the start, I love how they incorporated, you know, a lot of local flair to it. You know, they honored the Rougeau family. They did that. I thought that was really cool. Speedball winning. Sorry?
I saw that, and let me tell you, Rougeau looked really good.
Oh man, you know, it was exactly. It was definitely entertaining. You could see why they had such a presence because you know we may age, but that charisma never goes away. You know, and you see, like I like how they Speedball did really well. He won the contract for the international championship. I love the match between Bandito and Kyle Fletcher. My God, those guys! I could watch them wrestle forever and ever and ever. Um, you know, uh, Willow and Tekla had a great match. Good storytelling there throughout. And then, of course, your main event, Kenny Omega, Kevin Knight. Good match, I feel. And then the end there had me a bit perplexed, but we got some clarity on Dynamite. How did you think of Redemption?
Yes, we definitely did get some clarity. So here's the thing. As you know by now, I am on the East Coast. This pay-per-view started at 7 o'clock and ended at nearly 12 midnight. So for the responsible person that needs to be up at 7 o'clock in the morning to be at work at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, go about their day, it is not quite practical, especially when you're somebody in your 40s, to be up until 12 o'clock, 12:30 at night, and then get up at 6:30, 7 in the morning. When you hit a 10, 11 o'clock hour, working those hours, when you're hitting a 10 o'clock hour the night before, like I'm sitting there 7 o'clock, 10 p.m. I'm like, I gotta stop watching this pay-per-view. I'm tired. This is 3 hours. I know we got 2 hours to go. I gotta be at work the next day. So I didn't watch the last three matches, unfortunately, which were probably the more important matches of the night. So, with that being said, I do believe All In is on Saturday this year.
Yes, usually they
That's a
try to run it.
huge W. That's a
Yeah,
huge W. So if AEW is going to continue to run shows at this hour of the day, you got to cater a little bit more to the East Coast. You got to consider people on a Sunday night that have to get up for work that day. If you scale back those hours a little bit, either shorten the show or start the show 2 hours earlier, end this thing by 10, 10:30. I think you are going to get more viewers, especially those people that got to go to work Monday morning.
right.
You're gonna get those viewers, increase your viewership. Um, when it's live, that is, increase your live viewership. Um, but I mean, yeah, for somebody that lives on the West Coast, it's very practical, no problem whatsoever. But in the East Coast, I mean,
Tough.
let's call it for what it is. The East Coast of the United States has the most hardcore wrestling fan bases. And then if you want to throw
Yeah,
Texas and Chicago in there, fine. So you got to cater more towards the East Coast. But when you're catering to the East Coast, the whole West Coast is going to benefit because they get an even earlier show and they don't have to worry about staying up late.
exactly. No, I agree. I think, like I said, that's probably their biggest area of opportunity because, I mean, or even if you split it, you know what I mean? Like if you don't want to mortgage the wrestling aspect, do a double show, like a 2 day, or just run it on Saturday. Even that's fine, unless it's like a holiday weekend. Those Sunday nights do get late, and then people are, to your point. Do I stay up to try to watch the main event, like the whole thing? Or am I going to have to catch this tomorrow or whenever I can on lunch breaks or after work or whatever the case may be, just to catch up? That's kind of not the greatest for a pay-per-view. Usually what sells it is the main event. So, yeah, I think that's definitely something because if they move it up, hey, that just means I get to watch wrestling earlier and I get done earlier. No skin off my back. You know what I mean?
Last year, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was in Texas,
Correct.
right?
I was there. Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah, and that's where you were at the time. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that was an afternoon show as well, too.
Correct. They ran
Correct?
that Saturday afternoon.
3 o'clock start.
Correct, and it was great. I mean, by the time I was
And they
back
were
to the
catering to
hotel,
London. So they were
that's
catering
right.
to everybody there.
Yeah, I don't see why they can't do things like that again. That just makes sense, and it's a long show, but if the sickos are gonna watch it, we're gonna watch it.
So when I watched that show last year, it was 5 hours long, but it was an easier 5 hours to process for me because it wasn't as late and it was a pretty good show.
Yeah,
All In is their biggest show. Okay, cool. Go 4.5 to 5 hours. But when we have in between pay-per-views, I think we need to trim it back just a little bit. Just keep that under 4.
You maybe you save some of that for a Battle of the Belts, or you save it for something else to kind of enhance that. I see no problem in doing that. There's no reason that everybody has to get a pay-per-view match. As much as I love the roster and I think they're all deserving, yeah, you could impact some more stuff, I think. And they do a good job. I think Grand Slam Mexico next week for Dynamite will be a good show. I think it'll be treated as a big event, as they do with like Australia and when they run certain things like that. So we'll see how it turns out. But yeah, it definitely can get up there time wise for sure. Even when I was in Texas, that's only an hour behind where you're at, but that's 2 hours ahead of here, and that made a difference too. So how'd you like Dynamite?
Absolutely. Dynamite was a very, very good show. I have no issues with Dynamite, really. Like, I feel like, yeah, I mean, I think certain matches are given a little bit too much time, but at the same time, I think AEW is doing what they break up the monotony a little bit. You have the promos, you had the backstage segment to start the show. We had 2 excellent promos, which we'll jump into. And then we had and then we had the Young Bucks sit down with Edge and Christian. We'll actually start with that first before we hit the other stuff. But so there were little breaks into the show. It was dragging, not because of being bored or anything. It's just that like I had this thing recorded and I'm like, okay, it's 9:57 and the match is the main event match is still not started yet. And then you have a Kenny Omega segment. I'm like, when is this gonna end? I thought this was a 2-hour show. But I have the intuition now to not only record Dynamite, but record the episode of whatever is playing. Last night was Impractical Jokers. So since I know it was an overrun, I recorded Impractical Jokers. And I still got cut off by like maybe 30 seconds. But anyway, good Dynamite for sure. They definitely did win over. They had a lot of things to cover. They're on the road to All In. I guess just TBS allows it. And was it? Yeah, that's tonight's TNT. So TBS allows it. So very good show. So we had the sit down with Edge and Christian with Renee Young in between them and the Young Bucks last night. And I really loved this segment because it was, a segment of mutual respect. It didn't go off the rails. No confrontations. You're talking about one generation being better. It started getting into the generational comparison. But other than that, I felt like it was an interview of a good show of respect between the two teams. And I would imagine it's going to remain a tag team title match between these two teams all the way through All In. But what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there was a lot of embedded respect amongst these two teams because for their generations that they were both active in, you can't discuss tag team wrestlings of that era and not mention one of these tag teams, right? I think it was kind of telling to see that, you look at, I think, Cope's line about they hadn't won a tag championship for 25 years. And I saw something to the effect of like the Young Bucks' entire tag career is like 23 years long. So they never really would have crossed paths like that prior. And you look at just from, the Bucks have had great matches with the Hardys and stuff. And, they've been able to do that. They haven't been able to have that with Edge and Christian, and I think they're going to run it all the way to All In. I think it'll just be, this will be the build. I think it'll be respectful, but I think at some point, because Christian is our favorite a-hole, right? I think that's going to go in there because he did keep it kind of above board, but he did let them know that they're the best of their generation as well as the Young Bucks generation. And they believe that. Copeland made a good point. He's like, They want it because they're doubted at this stage. Because obviously Father Time is undefeated. But watching these guys go, especially in tag team, they still have that chemistry. They still have that stuff. I'm looking forward to it. I was kind of, mid on it, if I'm being honest. But watching that sit down and hearing them talk about it, and to the Bucks' point, they do need this. They don't have a Hall of Fame career already in their back pocket where they could have just retired off of that and said, "Hey, we're just going to cash our checks, do our Comic Cons, and be good." No, they're still doing this thing, and if they win at All In, they're the most decorated tag team in AEW history. Yeah, they also book it, but at the same time too, from a fan standpoint, that means something. You have legacy versus legacy essentially, and I think that's dope, right? That's a dream match in my opinion. Your thoughts?
So here's one point where I was thinking of. Edge made a comment talking about the state of tag team wrestling, how tag team wrestling has basically been an afterthought. And I don't think he was referring to AEW at that time, because AEW has generally done a very good job highlighting their tag team divisions and their best tag teams with FTR and what have you. I think that was a knock towards WWE, how the tag team scene has been neglected for so many years. I mean, the tag team scene over there is very atrocious right now. And not to mention they have 2 separate tag team titles, which makes it even more worse than it is. So I believe that comment that Edge made was not necessarily referring to AEW, but definitely referring to WWE for sure. Vince McMahon not putting the emphasis on tag team titles. I feel like AEW has done a great job highlighting their tag team champions and having a division. They've had so many tag teams, and guess what? They might be adding more. They might be adding the Bad Day.
Right.
I can see that happening, by the way. New Day comes in and they call themselves the Bad Day.
The day after, the next day.
That is my creative right there, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. And then, not to mention, for those that could be watching Collision right now or later, who knows? Maybe we get the appearance of Motor City Machine Guns, which I have that recording right now. I'm gonna go back and watch Collision maybe tomorrow or something.
Yeah,
but we could get the Motor Machine Guns coming out. So this tag team division is looking really nice.
Yeah, I think when you have an expanded roster as AEW has, as WWE has too, I think what they do well is they really enhance, or they do their best to make the tag and the trios division seem so impactful that you're giving the shine to some of these wrestlers. They can say they were a champion, but you're also spotlighting another guy or another 2 people. You know what I mean? And that way, your bloated roster, they all don't feel like they're insignificant. So it benefits AEW to say, hey, let's really invest in these tag divisions, whether it's putting the belt on an Omega and a Hangman at the beginning, and then having them branch off. You had Swerve and Keith Lee when they were tag champs. They do a good job of having that while elevating a private party, while elevating obviously the Bucks and FTR, but the Guns, elevating some of these other tag teams as well too. I think that'll be kind of dope. And to your point, I don't know if you saw the New Day's teaser video that they had leaked out.
I heard about this. Tell me.
Man, it was. There was a part where they kind of gave an homage, like a nod to Big E, that kind of it'll get you in your feels a little bit, but it definitely just kind of shows that, like, okay, it was very anime-esque, but you can see.
I heard there's a broken unicorn.
Yeah, like, so the 2 unicorns are kind of making a run for the exit, and they make a nod over to a unicorn that's in the stable with a broken horn, which is Big E, and he kind of gives them the "it's okay," and they give him the "it's okay," and they go their own way. And that, I got goosebumps talking about that because it sucks, but at the same time too, like Big E's gonna have a great career in commentating or whatever he decides to do because he's got charisma, right? And
Yeah.
and I think that the New Day, the Bad Day, the next day, the day after, whatever they're going to call themselves, I think they're going to have a good post career too. If anything, just being able to fantasy book it, right? And I think that'll be kind of dope. The Machine Guns, who knows? I mean, from a wrestling standpoint, it would be kind of dope to see them go up against Edge and Christian, or see them run it with FTR again, or them and the Bucks go at it, or whatever. Just there's things there you can do. Them and the Rascals. There's different ways you can kind of put it in there to kind of see how they go about it. I think that's kind of dope as well. So we'll see, man. I don't know how long Edge and Christian hold these titles, though. I think they may. I don't know. I could see them carrying beyond and maybe doing something with FTR again, or they drop it to the Bucks at All In. I don't know.
Yeah, this is one where I really don't know what the plan is. I wouldn't be surprised if they dropped it because of the Passion of the Torch kind of thing.
Right.
But I really don't have a great answer what they can do. But keep in mind that All Out in Chicago is basically a month later.
Right.
So we've been hearing rumors for months, well, a little less than that, like the last month or two, of people throwing it out there in the IWC that we could possibly get a ladder match for the tag titles with Edge and Christian, Young Bucks, Bad Day, Motor City Machine Guns, FTR, and your 6 top tag teams, which would be a crazy fantasy match of one that we haven't seen in a very long time in the tag team division. Maybe even throw the Dudleys in there. But now that we're closing in on All In, I don't think we're good. I think they're just going to keep the tag team titles between the two of them. But I think knowing Tony Khan, I think that's your big match for AEW All Out in Chicago. You don't want to rush it because maybe Motor shows up tonight, but New Day hasn't showed up yet. So you have time to get there if they want to try to go there.
Right, and you can let this Bucks and Christian and Cope thing kind of breathe a bit while you are laying the groundwork for those other tag teams to come in, because that idea of a ladder match or something, especially All In, or All Out rather, because Tony loves Chicago, that would be a really dope match to have to highlight there. So yeah, I could definitely see that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And but again, I'm very, very for the most part, other than like the long matches and long shows, I'm very pleased with the booking I'm seeing lately with AEW. And like I even watched Collision for the first time in God knows how long, a week or two ago, and I really enjoyed the show. It was really good. And like I said, I can't say that. I definitely cannot say that with confidence about this past Monday night's Raw. That was just
hard,
man. But
Tough
this
watch.
is AEW show tonight. I'm trying not to get into it, but it hasn't been the best SummerSlam build for sure. But moving on, we had the Kenny Omega and the Osprey feud, and we see Osprey. Renee Young catching up with them, Osprey, and then we see the Death Riders. They're all in like a tunnel kind of setting, and basically, Will Osprey says, I'm out, and we even see what's his name? I forget.
Hangman?
No, before that, the
Moxley or Daniel
we are
Garcia?
live, and I am drawing a blank right now. This is crazy.
Moxley.
Neville.
Oh, MJF.
Neville.
Oh, yeah, Pac.
Formerly Neville. Pac, yeah.
Pac, the bastard.
The bastard Pac.
Which also he's got to share the hair
he
routine.
he gets clipped by Will Ospreay, which I thought was pretty funny.
Man,
But we saw even on the pay per view, like Moxley was telling his boys like, "Yo, I was right." If Will Ospreay doesn't pull the trigger, Kenny Omega's gonna do it first, and we saw that at the end of Redemption, so that carried over into Dynamite this last night, right into the show. And Will Ospreay's like, I'm out. I mean, this is not how I do things. And we see later, in the promo, we'll get to the promo in a second, but then Ospreay walks away, and then we see Hangman talking in Will Ospreay's ear, and Ospreay's basically saying, I can't trust anybody. Your thoughts on this first segment?
I love how they did the storytelling and weaving in the ending of Redemption into the start of Dynamite. I thought that was a cool little touch there.
Yes.
Watching the Death Riders react to the end of it. And again, great storytelling with Moxley basically saying, get him before he gets you, and all will be forgiven. And Kenny, Kenny's going to, hey, Kenny's he's going to pull the trigger, right? The cleaner. And so you start that in the intertwinement of Will Ospreay and the Death Riders, where Moxley kind of plays in this. And then, he's outnumbered there. He knocks out Danny Garcia. You've got Pac with his beautiful hair flowing.
Oh, it was Danny Garcia he punched. My bad.
No. Yeah. No,
but Pac was getting in his face.
Right.
Too.
And that's the thing, man. Anytime you get Pac and Ospreay, Pac in any match, honestly, that guy can just straight up wrestle, right? But so you move on beyond that. He's out of the Death Riders, which is kind of like, okay, the name is Death Riders. I don't think you could just, cancel subscription like that. But all right, we'll see how that works. And then you see Hangman, which is interesting because, well, Hangman and Kenny obviously are boys. And you've got Ospreay basically saying, hey, I can't trust you. I can't trust anybody. He mentions, Kyle and Mark Davis too, and yeah, he's gonna have to go into this alone. So very, very detailed storytelling there, and then they definitely ran that all the way to the ending promo too. I definitely like the beginning of it, how they set it up. I'm invested. I don't know which way this goes, and I don't know how Hangman fits into it. I don't know where Moxley fits into it.
Do you think we get a WrestleMania 40 style main event booking for this match between Will Ospreay and Omega at All In, where a number of people jumping in, then you got Hangman and whoever maybe wants to come to Ospreay save to get rid of whoever's going to interfere in that match? At this point, are Death Riders going to interfere in this match and cost Will Ospreay because of everything that's gone down? Are we going to see Young Bucks get involved to help out Omega? Can you foresee a lot of brouhaha and overbooking? Which, when I say overbooking, I don't mean that in a bad way.
No.
But a lot of overbooking and just to make the match more interesting with interference and stuff. What do you think?
So you look at the ending of All In last year in Texas. You had the interjection, obviously, of the Death Riders. You had Danielson. You had Darby coming down. So it's not out of the realm of possibility to have these run-ins or the overbooking. But I don't know if they need that. You go back and look at the Forbidden Door match that Ospreay and Omega had, or the Wrestle Kingdom match that they had too. Phenomenal wrestling matches as is. But because these storylines are so there, I could definitely see a world where that plays into it and enhances it. I just don't know where they go beyond it. You know what I mean? I think that I could see very well you have, Ospreay winning in London and that being the thing. But I could also see Ospreay just turning heel too and maybe fully going in with the Death Riders. I also think it's fascinating that Jon Moxley basically breaks Ospreay's neck Osprey rushes back from injury, can't beat him, so he joins him. Well, I really think the best booking would be having Osprey somehow lose, win the Continental Tournament, and dethrone Moxley for his title at his own game. You know what I mean? But I don't know if they carry it beyond that. I mean, London's there. It's hard to see all of that, but it's
Yeah.
so fascinating, you know. And because I don't know, I want to see it, you know.
You can tell that the cog has clearly been behind Will Ospreay for a number
Yeah,
of months now. He's been
yeah.
more featured on Dynamite main events. He's so over with the crowd, and even booked the Owen Hart tournament around him to win, to be able to get this shot at All In. Um, can I see the possibility of they do a Cody Rhodes booking where Cody loses at WrestleMania 39 but wins it at WrestleMania 40? Could they do that with Will Ospreay this year where he comes up just short and then we go into story mode with Will Ospreay and then next year's All In, he gets his title shot and finally gets it? Could they do that? They very well could. But I feel like the machine, so to speak, has been behind Osprey, and I think he's going to come out winning this. I don't have a good read if he's going to turn heel or not. But I'd be surprised if he does not come out AEW champion.
Mm. It'll be a heck of a match for sure, though. That's one thing. It'll be great wrestling.
Oh yeah, yeah. What did you think of the banter between Omega and Will Ospreay in that final segment of the night?
Well, I mean, first of all, I thought it was really, really, really well done. Great promo by both of them.
Cinema.
Yeah, I mean, phenomenal, right? I mean, I think that the back and forth, it made sense. If I'm Kenny Omega, this is my guy. I'm trying to look out for him. I'm telling him to be cautious. I get up from getting my butt kicked, and there's a ripped bag, and you're handing me my title like I'm supposed to thank you when these are your boys. You know what I mean? Like, I could see why he would kind of be that way. I definitely thought he was turning heel at Redemption, but now this kind of makes sense there too because it's like, hey man, I thought we were cool, and then that slap, that first slap, I mean, it sounded like a gunshot. Like I would have been pissed. He slapped me like that, bro, in any setting in front of all these people. We got to fight. He kept on going, and you could just see it. And then Osprey says, "I was your friend." Right, like that's kind of dope. Reminded me of Batista and Rey Mysterio back in the day. But it was you could see it. He says to him, he goes, "You're gonna see it when I pull the trigger. You're gonna see it coming." That's okay. So he's gonna do it. And you look at the Tiger Driver, you look at all the different things and all the different stuff, all of Will's character, his building up, his very intricate storytelling of his whole evolution, if you will. I don't know, man. I'm here for it. I thought Omega was great.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Like this promo has me wanting more of. I want to know what's going to happen next week.
Right.
I'm very excited about this. Moving on, the other match I am looking forward to, and as we know, Willow Nightingale defeated Tekla at AEW Redemption. I don't know about you, but Willow Nightingale seems like such a sweetheart. Like she's really growing on me. In fact, there is an event on Long Island. I know you guys, a lot of you guys that will eventually be watching this show. There is an event not too far from me, right in the center of Long Island, over in Hop Hog,
That's
New
right.
York, um, where Willow Nightingale will be there. Now she's the AEW Women's Champion. Also, there's Shotzi's going to be there too as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
So I am definitely going to check that out. 5 minutes away from my house or so. I'm definitely gonna check that out now. Like Willow Nightingale's growing on me big time. She wrestles good matches. She is the ultimate baby face, and she gave a good promo last night in the celebratory fashion, and she was emotional, talking about her mom helped her get there. Um, through the tough times that she had. And she wasn't really gone for long, but she did get injured. I don't know what happened. Maybe they thought it was going to be serious, but it turned out nothing and to be not a whole lot. And, they AEW just thrusted her right into the main event scene, as we saw this past weekend, where she is now the AEW Women's Champion. Um, I did not see this match. So, what did you think of this match and the promo of Willow Nightingale, and then also with I was about to say Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné interrupting that promo last night.
Yeah, no, the match was great. Her and Tekla. Tekla can really wrestle, man. She's phenomenal. But you look at
I love Tekla's personality.
Oh God, I just want to party with her. You know what I mean? I just feel like, don't get me wrong, I definitely need a day off the next day. But I think that she would definitely be somebody to kick it with and have a great hangover movie-esque night with, I feel like. But I look at Willow, and that crowd in Detroit, man, was phenomenal. They were the "You Deserve It" chants. You could see that she loves this stuff. If you dislike Willow Nightingale, I would have to really question your makeup as a human being. I think it might be impossible to dislike her, unless you're Mercedes, I guess. But outside of that, like, I mean, her energy is just so infectious, from her music to her charisma to her wrestling, and even when you watch her hardcore matches too, she's not afraid to like do that. And I feel like that's why, Tony Khan and the Machine's gotten behind her, and she is the women's first ever Triple Crown winner, right? And that's a big deal. But then you have Mercedes come out, right? But mind you, before we get to Mercedes, I just want to know how much they spent on those streamers, because good God, I feel like Party City in Detroit was rated for every streamer possible within a 10-mile radius. I mean, there were streamers everywhere. Mercedes comes out.
Loved it.
It was great. Great celebration. Fitting for Willow, the colors and everything. Mercedes comes out and says, "Look, I just want you to sign it." I love that Willow put the contract right on Mercedes and signed it right on her chest. That is so gangster, bro.
Yes, that was a very, very little detail, but that was very important.
Ooh. And then she says to her, "Oh, that I ended your 500-plus day TBS title reign." She took the New Japan Strong title from Mercedes. Mercedes has two big roadblocks in her way, and that is Willow Nightingale and Tony Storm. Those are her two boogeymen, if you will, that she can't get around. And because of that, I know Omega and Osprey would main event it, but any other pay-per-view, this is the main event, because like the storylines are there. Mercedes, she can't beat Willow on a bet. She had all those titles, and after she lost to Tony at All In, she started losing. It started with the TBS title, and then one by one, she started losing all of her belts. She's holding on to that Owen Hart title as long as she possibly can, because if she doesn't beat Willow at All In, you're going to have to find a better outfit to wear, because your midsection is going to be exposed. You're not going to have a title there no more. I don't know. I thought it was well done. I thought the heat was there. Watching them intertwine the women's tag champs, the Divine Dominion, which, I mean, good Lord, those are some strong, big, scary. I mean, not scary looking, but in terms of like, they're not 5 foot nothing. You know what I mean? They go in there. They've got like a little alliance going. You see the Brawling Birds come out, which builds to their match at All In. I think that's good to kind of see that. That'll be a nice little build towards that. But Willow and
are we getting a 3-on-3 matchup between the two teams? I think it's
that would
right?
be that. I mean, makes sense, right?
City Dynamite. Did they announce that?
I have no idea, but that makes sense, right? Like, I want to see that, right? Like, let's run that. Get them in there. Get some familiarity with the tag titles and stuff in there too. We'll see. But great storytelling. The contract.
You have to have Willow Nightingale win this match at
All In.
You gotta have just because Mercedes Moné is a big name. lover or hater, Mercedes Moné, formerly known as Sasha Banks, is one of the most recognizable names in
True.
the wrestling industry. And just because you come over from WWE doesn't mean you get an automatic um championship win. I
Right.
want to see Mercedes earn her next championship. And I think we need a break from all those championships that she won. She was winning left and right. So I think we need a little bit of a break um from that for a little bit longer. You need to keep developing your women's division and Mercedes was right. You know, she Willow Nightingale is over because of Mercedes Moné
Their
of the
stories are
matches
intertwined.
and the
Yep.
feuds. Yeah. So Willow Nightingale, hands down, is got to win at all in. However, if that happens, I'm a little concerned that will Tony Khan pull the trigger um if Willow retains, so that okay, so if Willow retains, which I want to see,
Hmm.
I guess they would have to pull the trigger on the Will Osprey match. So this way, you don't have
Right.
two Owen Hart winners losing at
Losing.
All In.
It would be very Asuka Shinsuke of that WrestleMania.
Oh, 34 New Orleans. I didn't go to that WrestleMania 34 because I had already gone to WrestleMania 30. I've been to the city of New Orleans, which I didn't like.
Yeah,
Um, I'm
you've
all
been there
about
once.
amenities. I'm all about amenities. I love going to stadiums. I like going to whenever I go to WrestleManias, I like finding a basketball game to go to, a baseball game to go to, like
Right,
different
right.
touristy whatever. And New Orleans just didn't really hit for me. So that's why I didn't go to 34. I'm like, we just were at New Orleans 4 years ago. I'm not gonna go again. Kind of glad I didn't. It was just, the Mania was just, whatever. Wasn't great,
Well, yeah,
but
I mean, we'll see. Hopefully, that's not the case for All In, but I mean,
I think All In's gonna be a very good pay per view, and I'm very excited about it. That it's gonna be an early start time, three
yeah,
o'clock, on a Saturday too.
like a
So
dream.
I'm like excited. I could probably do an AEW post show that night. Oh man, I haven't done an AEW pay per view post show since maybe a pay per view post show that is since maybe All Out in 2022 when Adam Cole showed up and Brian
Right.
Danielson showed
Oh
up. I
man,
was there for that, and we did a post
dude.
show right outside the stadium, and
So
that was a lot of fun.
that's Omega saying anyone that would ever beat me is either not here or they're already dead. And then all of a sudden you hear, it's all about the boom. And then that was one of the epic. And then Danielson coming out after. You were there for that? That's sick.
Yeah, that was an incredible night. Not to mention, I think it was the night before we were hanging out with Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful and Denise
Yeah.
Salcedo. That was and Connor from comicbook .com, and
Hmm.
so we had a blast that weekend.
Man.
But yeah, go on.
No, I was saying it just, the build to All In, and then, you have All Out on the horizon after that. This is their, obviously, AEW's version of like their Super Bowl is All In. And so I
Yes.
think that they're going to, really pour a lot into it. They announced also, too, they're going to do the casino world title opportunity again, as famously won by MJF last year at All In. So we'll see. I think that'll be kind of cool. See I'll tell you who's not going to win. It's Hangman.
Oh man. I don't yeah, I don't know how they're gonna book him back into a championship title scene if they decide to do that again one day.
He'll be a nice TNT
Uh,
champion someday.
yeah. Oh man, I hate that stipulation so much. Oh
It was
man.
so dumb. Just stop
I
doing
know.
that.
I
That and
know they're gonna
hair
have to come
versus
up with a
hair.
good, brilliant story. Hair versus hair, I'm okay. Mask versus mask, loved it. I hope you saw the Grande versus El Grande
Oh man,
match.
great
One of
match.
the hands down match of the year.
Oh god.
I think it's just about there. But yeah. So we'll see what they do with Hanger. Very interested. And where's Swerve been?
That's the thing. Where's Swerve? Where's Samoa Joe? Like, there are some guys out there that, does Jay White ascend now? When does he get his sea legs back? What happens there? I thought it was kind of clever too. On Dynamite, you had the original Bang Bang with the Bang Bang Gang. That was kind of funny watching
That's pretty cool.
Mick Foley with that. But you mentioned Long Island. You got Mick Foley, you got Willow, you got Statlander. AEW's got MJF. That's right, Trent. The AEW's running Long Island, bro.
This is true. A couple news and notes from AEW Dynamite. We saw Andrade defend his newly won national championship against Nick Wayne and Jungle Boy. And yeah, I'm happy for Andrade. Like something's getting over for him.
Oh yeah, best run he's on right now.
He looks like he's got some momentum from what I'm seeing. Jack Perry looked very good, even though he lost. He looked very good last night in the ring. Then we had Speedball, Mike Bailey, and Bandito and Brody versus Kyle Fletcher, Jack Doyle, and Brian Cage. They got to do stuff with Jack Doyle and Brian Cage. These guys are generic as can be.
Right,
Brian Cage is a lackey. He needs, and I've said this, and I think I've said this on the podcast with you. Like Brian Cage is a lackey. They got to do something with him. Like come up with some creative.
Bro, big for no reason. He's big for no reason right now. Like at this point,
he's a really nice guy. I've met him before. He's behind the scenes at one of Tommy Dreamer's wrestling promotions. He's a good guy. He can work, but I need a reason to get behind him because right now I have none whatsoever.
Yeah, we'll see where he goes.
Yeah. Speedball is challenging for Fletcher's international title next week in Mexico, so that's why they had this little tag team going. Speedball looks phenomenal with that pinning combination on Jack Doyle. Beautiful pinning combination. He gets the win for his team, and Speedball and Fletcher are set for Collision next week. Not literally at Collision, but they're set for a Collision at Dynamite in Mexico City next week.
If you haven't seen the first two matches between Speedball and Kyle Fletcher, I would implore you to go watch them. It's significantly more entertaining than I thought going in. And there are times when I'm watching it and I'm like, okay, it can really go either way here. I don't know if they're going to give the nod to Speedball, but it's going to be an amazing match. Just watching what these guys can do and the energy they bring. How Speedball or anybody who wrestles barefoot is odd to me, but you know what? Hey, it'll be a good match. I'm excited for that next week.
Maya World also defended her newly won TBS championship against Persephone, if I said that right. Persephone.
Yeah, Persephone. Persephone. Not gonna work anymore. Yeah.
Persephone reminds me of Jada Parker from NXT. But
I can see that.
Exactly. Yeah. They have like the mannerisms. They look alike. But Maya World, that win that she got on Sunday, that I was awake for. It was before that match was around, I don't know, almost 9:00 or something. And
I wasn't expecting it.
She looks pretty good. I wasn't expecting to win there.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I like that. They're going to look like they're carrying over the Sheeta storyline with Maya World. The interjection of Stat into that match with Persephone as well too. Do they do a 4-way? Who knows? But I like that they're elevating Maya World relatively quickly and adding another, just some buzz behind her where it's not an automatic, in this case, sorry to say it, Brian Cage, he's going to probably eat the pin, him or Jake Doyle. In this case, Maya World's now, they're kind of building her up. So we'll see. I love her little her pinning combination that she does.
Her suplex finisher.
Oh man, that looks so cool. I would, chiropractors are going to be able to retire off of her at some point in life, I'd imagine. But right now, she's putting on some good matches there, and we'll see. Sheeta, I think, needs a good feud. What were your thoughts on the match, and where do they go from here?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I liked how we saw the involvement of Sheeta trying to cost Mai the match, and then Statlander comes in and prevents that from happening, and then with Persephone grabbing a stick, and Statlander comes to the save there, and then so I liked the match in general. The match itself on Dynamite didn't overdo its stay.
Right.
So it was about a solid 10 minutes. So I was very cool with it. I can, Maya World is definitely on the rise for sure. I think it's good for the women's division, 100%.
I agree. I agree. I'm excited to see where they go from here and what they do. I think that it's never a bad thing to interject new life or new faces into the divisions.
We see for the Continental title, Commander versus Moxley. Very, very good showing by Commander, by the way. You always got to be impressed, and I always get a little nervous when I see Commander running the ropes. Unbelievable. Then kind of does a quick hop onto another rope and then does his front flip off of that, which is crazy. But we saw Jon Moxley win with the curb stomp, followed by a death driver, and then he taps out Commander for the win. Very good match. Obviously, we knew Jon Moxley was going to win this match, but Commander had a really, really good showing.
It was a good match. I taught Commander that move. I'm just kidding. I got to say, I think the Undertaker is definitely glad his and Commander's careers didn't run. Nobody would compare their careers, but watching what Commander does makes what Undertaker did on the rope look really, really, really silly.
Oh,
But
100%.
but I mean, good God, every time he runs on that thing, I'm like, bro, this could be really bad. But when he pulls it off, I always am like, yo. But to your point, good match. Mox gets the win, chokes him out. Kind of shows, in the storyline too, in his storytelling. I could have pinned him with the curb stomp, could have pinned him with the Death Rider, but I want to choke him out. You know what I mean? And that's how Moxley does stuff, I guess. And so who knows if he's trying to teach Will Ospreay something there, but good match. Commanders is a fun time.
People always bring up that it's the IWC throwing rumors out there, and I get it, it's a lot of clickbait and stuff, but Jon Moxley should come back to WWE and they should reform the Shield one last time with Seth and Roman Reigns and give us the triple threat match that we never had for a championship. I'm like, that ship has sailed. That ship has absolutely sailed. Jon Moxley's in, and he's gonna have to drag his wife with him if he does go to WWE. But I think that ship has sailed. Jon Moxley's AEW for sure. That will never happen. Mark my words.
He's
never say
definitely
never in
their
wrestling,
ace.
but I don't think it's happening.
Yeah, he's definitely AEW's ace. I mean, I feel like anytime there's been uncertainty similar to Seth in the WWE, they give the title to John. They give the title to Seth to kind of stabilize a bit. I think that's Moxley's his whole MO there. And yeah, the chance to have that triple threat match was years ago. It would have fed families. I still believe that they missed WWE. That is, missed a huge opportunity back in the day for a triple threat match between Rock, Triple H, and Austin. We were set to have it, and that idiot Rikishi had to hit Stone Cold with the limousine and do it for The Rock, and we never got that triple threat match. That idiot. But same thing with this. Again, if my grandma had wheels, she'd be a bicycle. So I guess we can't really go back in time either. But that it would be sick though, like a one-off to see that. To see the Shield kind of go at it, because at that point, like, everybody would lose their mind.
It would be cool if Triple H and Tony Khan can work a little side contract, allowing Jon Moxley to cross over. In fact, I would thoroughly love, and I know they're never going to do it unless Tony Khan were to buy WWE, but WWE
the TKOs,
the
TK stands for Tony Khan owns.
WWE versus AEW pay-per-view. I know they will never do that. It's competition. But the only way that's ever going to happen if it's Tony Khan does by WWE. In fact, Tony Khan did put in a bid just to test the waters for WWE a few years ago, and there was no, from what I've heard, there's no process whatsoever. It's as if like Vince McMahon already knew that he was selling WWE to TKO. Could have been a whole inside job, knowing that Vince McMahon's life was in trouble and sell it to TKO, and maybe TKO sells it back. Who knows? But yeah. Anyway, we had last thing we'll talk about really quick is the Demand versus the Conglomerate. Did I say that right?
The conglomeration.
Conglomeration, yeah. The trios titles was on the line. It was a lot of brouhaha and fighting in the beginning. The bell never rang at first. We're about 5 minutes into that. This match started, if I looked at my clock right, about 9:57.
Right.
And I'm thinking to myself, this show is supposed to end at 10. So I knew they were going over, but they went really over last night. Yeah, the bell finally rings after about 4 minutes of these teams fighting on the outside. We get new trios champions, so there was a title change there. The lethal twist comes out and costs the conglomeration the titles because Orange Cassidy gets hit with the belts. Orange takes the pin after getting hit with the belt. And then we see Hangman and Brody King come with the save afterwards, but not before we have the trios title change. So
good match, quick match. Yeah, when they saw that they were doing that, and they're like, okay, it's the main event. I was like, they didn't have the Omega segment yet. I'm like, oh, this is definitely going to be an overrun. But it was, yeah, a lot of brouhaha there. The lethal twist getting involved. They had been working behind the scenes with the man for a while, so I guess this is at their little payoff there. Good to see Ricochet win another title in AEW. I'm glad the Gates of Agony with them are getting some shine. I think Toa Leona and Bishop Khan's involvement over the last couple months, just watching how much weight Toa Leona's lost and just how he looks like a monster, and Bishop Khan's shredded. I mean, these guys, they look the part, right? And so heel trios team gets the title. Then you see Hangman kind of align with Brody King there. Do we see the Cowboy? You've got Bandito, kind of the outlaw. You've got Brody King. Who knows? Maybe that's a new trios thing. Hangman's got other things to do now, so we'll see where that goes. But all in all, I think it was a lot really quickly because they were running short on time. But yeah, it was a good match. I think the title change made sense. Orange Cassidy, Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, they don't need those titles.
My final thoughts of coming out of AEW this week is Collision's not over. It has about another hour left. We could get the appearance of Motor City Machine Guns. I'll be on the lookout for that. Hopefully we get it, as it's in Detroit, Michigan, if I'm not mistaken. It's live.
That's right.
So we could get a little surprise there as the main event. I will definitely be my Boston Red Sox are playing right now, so I gotta definitely tend to them too.
Well, they won 15 in a row, right? They got life.
That's a complete turnaround. So yeah, I watched Boston Red Sox over the World Cup too. That's how excited I am about the Red Sox right now. That was the priority game 2 weeks ago, but yeah. So AEW, their TV, from what I've noticed, has been really, really good. So we'll definitely again, we talked about it before, a little bit shorter pay-per-views, especially your in-between ones, or constructed at a better time that serves both the whole entire U.S. fan base and at the same time, you're taking care of your London fans too, as well. If you throw these big pay-per-views on at like 3, 4, or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, it gives the London people a chance to watch it live as well. So I think that's one of the takeaways for AEW this week. But all in all, I mean, the last couple of TV shows I've had a chance to watch with AEW, pretty productive. A lot of storytelling. I would like to see some more vignettes for wrestlers that are coming in instead of just popping out of nowhere when the lights go off and then they turn on. But
the
that's
lights
just
go
the way.
off.
Yeah, could happen tonight. But anyway, yeah, we're on the road to All In. All In. I'm honestly, like I said before, I never thought I'd say it this soon, but I'm looking forward to All In more than WWE SummerSlam based on what I am seeing. So we have 2 major shows coming up. Your final thoughts?
Yeah, I think they're kicking right now. They're rolling on all cylinders. They're firing on all cylinders, rather. Definitely looking forward to the All In pay-per-view. And hopefully we get to chat again before then. It's been awesome being able to talk about this and kind of keep the ball rolling. They've been giving us some good content to talk about. So
yeah,
all good.
SummerSlam is this week, and then the next big show is All In, which is the end of August. So this is a very, very what I'm seeing. I would say a busy part of AEW season right now. So we'll be definitely talking more AEW often than we have, especially with the news we've heard with WWE partnering with Busted Open Radio. So now it's called WWE Radio, and they're not going to be able to talk about AEW anymore. Let's call it for what it is. It's all WWE talk now.
Right.
Hopefully, Dave LaGreca, Bully Ray, they'll be able to voice their opinions on what they like and what they don't like. I hope that doesn't change. But again, Sirius Satellite Radio, WWE Radio, and so we are looking to hopefully try to capitalize on our end, and I hope all podcasts will capitalize, not just us, to talk more AEW, to take advantage of it, so AEW fans have an outlet to talk more AEW. So we're hoping to provide that for sure.
That's right.
All right, for those of you guys that are watching Shiv, thank you so much for hopping on tonight for episode
Pleasure.
166. We have our WWE SummerSlam post show this Sunday night. As you have heard, we are heating up with AEW, so we will be back with another show probably like a week or two. So stay posted on that. But for those of you guys that are watching, we will be back Sunday night right after SummerSlam, within minutes, talking about the, no pun intended, the aftermath of WWE SummerSlam, the fallout. And hopefully that's a good conversation for whoever will be on that show. But for those of you guys that are watching, thank you so much, and you guys all have a great night.
Agility from the champion. Oh, 10-6.